Good morning, everyone. Good Saturday morning. I got this roughneck-looking crew with me. They're gonna help me along the way with we're talking about real estate investing, you guys. Talking about real estate investing. One of the toughest issues or biggest challenges that we have with real estate investing is finding deals. I often say that the investor that can find the most deals is going to make the most money. And so I often get asked the question, what are the best ways to find deals? So that's what we're going to talk about. I see a lot of our platinum coaching students are in. Clinton is in the house. Hey, Paula, Crystal, Donna is checking in. Michael Blackman. Hey, Michael. Joanne, Keith Bennett is in the house. All right, so let me introduce you to my crew here. I think most or all of them are part of my platinum coaching program. And they've all done a great job on finding investment deals. And so let's start with you, Dana. Why don't you introduce yourself and just let us know, how you got started in real estate investing.
Okay, my name is Dana Lewis Sr. Many years ago, maybe at least 30 years ago, I had started to do some real estate investing. Went in with little to no knowledge, did have some business knowledge, and acquired some properties. And to make a long story short, I won't take up the whole session, but I fell on my face. I fell on my face because I did not have a coach to guide me through. So one thing led to another, and ended up falling on my face and losing all my properties. I had a year and a half ago had someone had gave me wind of Greg's program, and I went to a meeting and took a look and listened and listened closely. Took a very good close look at Greg, and what I saw something in him. And what I saw was not only a person who knew, because a lot of people know the game, but I saw integrity in him. That's what got me. That's what drew me in, is the integrity that I saw. So I joined the Platinum Group, and I've been a part ever since. And one thing has led to another, and I'm starting to get things going. Things are starting to pick up.
All right, we'll talk later. We'll talk later about how you found your properties and what you've done in the last year, which is really has been phenomenal. Josue, what's going
What's up,
on?
brother? What's up, Greg? Good morning. Good morning.
Introduce yourself.
So my name's Josue. Let's see. I'm excited to be here. Right. I 2 years ago came across Greg. He's always marketing everywhere, all types of marketing. So somehow I found his event. A Saturday event that he was hosting. I went to the event. I talked to him. I picked his ear and didn't pull the trigger on anything. I just kind of left it on the shelf. Went back. I had a sales job at the time. I'm still selling, but now in real estate. But I had a sales job for a home improvement company, so I was kind of just doing my thing there. And then about 6 months ago, I got back in touch with Greg, and I was so fascinated by his brokerage, his demeanor, his entrepreneur mindset, just all the success that he has had. And just through talking with him and learning through his events, that's kind of how I jumped in on board.
All right, and then we'll also talk about how you find deals and what you've done in the last really few months. Andre Cooper, what's going on, Andre?
Um, Nothing much. Just out here trying to make something happen. That's all.
How'd you get into real estate investing?
I got into real estate investing maybe a few years ago. I've always had a passion for looking at homes and HGTV and things of that nature. So I think I pulled the trigger maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I bought my first buy and hold. I ran into a gentleman, an investor, who encouraged me to get into real estate investing, and he's kind of, helped me out along the way ever since. So I kind of got into it that way. And since then, I became a real estate agent, and so on and so on.
Okay, and again, so you guys, all three of you guys, do a great job on taking action, following instructions, and actually doing it. A lot of people, on this webinar this morning, they want to be great and they want to invest in real estate. They're looking, like you said, Andre, at HGTV, but they never follow through. And so one thing that you guys have done is you guys have followed through and have taken action and haven't been afraid. You guys ask a lot of questions, and that's what it takes to be great and to be successful. So you guys listening, I want you guys to take some notes, and you guys can go to the comment section and ask questions if you like. I'm going to go over what I think are really the top 5 ways, maybe throw in a couple more, of finding deals in 2022. And as I said earlier, this is the most important part of real estate investing. And as a young investor, only able to buy 1 property a year, I knew the gold was in finding deals. So that's all I focused on, and even now. But in my early 20s, all I focused on was finding deals. Because when you find a deal, you've got options. You could either wholesale that deal, fix and flip that deal, or buy and hold that deal. But you have options, and that's where the gold is, and that's where most people fail. They fail at finding deals. They fail at getting out here and hustling, talking to people. I was joking with Andre earlier when we first got on that he's not afraid to talk. He's not afraid to talk to people. You guys will see in the next hour or so that he's not afraid to talk.
I'm not scared.
He's scared of nothing. But Josue and Dana, they're the same way. And so I'm going to go down a list of something. This is basically a marketing class, you guys. And so again, take notes. But one thing I do want to say to you guys is we're going to talk about a lot of things in the next hour or so. I want you guys to take notes on everything, but choose one. Choose one thing and be great at it. Generate leads from it. And then we add something else and we generate leads from that. But let's not go all over the place. These guys' story, my stories, everybody's story is different, but let's be great at one thing. So let's start off with, in this day and age, 2022, short sales, foreclosures, auction properties. That's where we are now because of the pandemic, because of COVID-19. We see a lot of people, unfortunately, foreclosing. We're entering into a short sale market. There's lots of auction properties, and so when we're thinking about how to find properties, probably the majority of my coaching students are finding properties at the auction. They're going to the online auctions like Hubzu, auction.com. Here in our area in the DMV, AlexCooper.com, Ashland Auctions. They're going to those auction sites. And some of them are bidding online. Some of them are bidding at the courthouse steps. Some of them, like Dana, found a property on one of the auction sites and actually bid in front of the house and won. Dana, why don't you talk a little bit about that the property that you won at the auction? How did you find that property? What was the process of you actually purchasing that property?
Well, the way I found it was you had sponsored a shadowing event one Saturday and attended that. I try to attend all the events because I don't want to miss anything. So I attended a shadowing event and was kind of amazed at what I saw because the property I didn't go with the intention to do what I did, but I saw a condo that didn't need any work done to it. Absolutely no work at all, nothing. that was in the auction. I was a little confused of why. Kept asking the question, why is it being auctioned? Why? And I'm thinking in my mind, okay, something's wrong. There's an underlying problem here. Research, took a closer look, got Keith allowed me to get access to the property, and did my due diligence and was satisfied. And I told Greg before we left the property, I'm gonna bid on this property because that's what I felt. But I knew I was gonna do some research, and went and bid on the property and won. To my surprise, I wasn't expecting to win, but I won, and just ran with it. And I did put a coat of paint just to give it some color because someone had just put white throughout, so I gave it some color. But it was somewhat of a process with the financing, only because that was my first one in recent years. So I was out of practice. Everything has changed in a lot of ways since I did this 30 years ago. So it was somewhat of a process. Greg did rescue me because I did get in trouble, and that's not knowing. And he came in and rescued me and put some things in place, and I do have the property.
Good. And then just to let everybody know, I forgot to and so I'm speaking from a handout. If you guys want the handout, just go to my Instagram page, Greg Bennett Invest. I'll just keep this up. Greg Bennett Invest. Go to my Instagram page and click on the link in my bio, and you'll see the handout there. You guys can print it out or put it up on your phone or wherever you're tuning in from. But so go to my Instagram page, and you can get the handout there. Just click on the link in my bio. Josue, property you just purchased, was that at the auction also?
Yeah, it was an Ashland auction.
Okay.
So yeah, I went to one of your events, and I saw Sharvita and Sharon from Ashland Auction. They were the panelists with you there, and they were just sharing. Sharvita started sharing how she acquired a property in Emerson Village area, and how the process went. And Sharon had some insight, being the one who works at the Ashland Auction. And honestly, I just literally did whatever they said they did. So whatever Sharvita did, I was like, I'm gonna do exactly that. And a week later, I was giving my deposit to Ashland Auction on a property, so in that same zip code. And so I went on the website, started doing some due diligence on the property that I was interested in that zip code. And next thing you know, I was bidding on it. But here's the secret, though. Here's the secret as to why things went smoother for me versus anyone else. I got that property that I have before there was a bidding war, right? So if you go on Ashland Auction and you see underneath of the listing property, pre-seller offer accepted, that's your in, right? Because if you see that, what you can do is call Ashland and say, hey, more, ballpark, what is the seller looking for? And you want to hope that your offer is in that range. And then you want to email them and say, hey, this is my offer, will the seller accept this before it goes into the bidding? Because you don't want to get in a bidding war if you can avoid it. So that's how that happened. And I'm so excited I did that. Because knowing myself, my adrenaline rush starts kicking in, and I probably overbid. Yeah. Yeah.
That's happened before. And so what you're saying is you can actually make an offer on some of the auction sites. You can make an offer on the property before it actually goes to auction. And so that's what you did. And the seller accepted it, and they canceled the auction, and you closed on the deal. Went through some financing. We'll talk about financing also. And so now you have the property. You're renovating the property.
Yep.
What's that like?
Man.
I get a call almost every day. So what's that?
It's so funny, right? We're talking about HDTV. It's like you see they cut out all the fat. They cut out all the fluff, all the ins and all the details that no one ever hears about. And so it has its bumps, and but it's fun. I mean, I'm learning, it's an experience. It's always something to learn. So I'm learning, and that's a good thing about that. It's that even though there's some bumps and I'm coming across things that I never thought I would come across, it's good for me. It builds character, it builds knowledge. So it's all good.
Yeah. How is it? How's it dealing with contractors for you, Dana, being a contractor?
On
your own, on your own.
Well, I guess it would. I can't imagine what it's like not being a contractor. So I can only say that I would imagine that it's easier for me because I kind of know the flow of things somewhat, and knowing contractors somewhat. But there still can be a challenge because you're dealing with human beings. So it can still be a challenge, but it has to be somewhat easier for me, to deal with contracts than the average person.
Okay. All right. And so as it relates to the auction properties, both of you guys, I believe, had to pay a commission to the auctioneer, or what we call buyer's premium.
Yes.
Both of you guys had to pay that. Was it around 5%?
I think it was
10% for me.
Oh. Yeah, that's because I went through asking myself. It was 10%. I had to remember. Yes, 10%.
And so, Andre, have you done any auction properties, pre-foreclosures, foreclosures? I know that you've done a short sale because you and I are doing a short sale now together. You're wholesaling.
That's right. So I've done pre-foreclosures, but that's not how I bought my buy and hold properties. I kind of bought mine cash when in Baltimore. They were so cheap. So that's how I bought mine. But yeah, I find pre-foreclosures all the time. Auctions. I've been to a lot of auctions. I've been to Ashland auctions pretty much. They're nice, but they just now prices are so high now. They just drive the prices up so much. I just try to find like a pre-foreclosure or something like that. Try to find a good deal that way.
And that short sale, that one in Suitland, Maryland, how did you find that property?
Okay, so I found that property because I brand myself a lot on social media. I also, I just let people know that I help with distressed properties. I help people with pre-foreclosure situations or people that will have negative effects and that was impacted from COVID-19. So what I do is I put that out there, and someone came to me and said their neighbor, they needed help getting out of a situation, a pre-foreclosure situation. So I was able to get her under contract. I sent it to my team of short sale specialists, and they worked out all the everything to get the short sale approved. And I called you, and you're buying the property. You're buying the cash, and I assume you're going to renovate and buy and hold and keep it around forever and ever. So
yeah, it's a six. I'll have it as a 6-bedroom, 3-bath.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah,
beautiful property.
My grandchildren will be renting that property out.
I imagine.
And so there's a couple questions. Doreen is asking, can you get a mortgage on an auction property? So Tarsha will be on probably in about an hour. So she'll talk about how to finance foreclosed properties, tax auctions. But both Dana and Josue, they've gotten financing, I believe, both through Tarsha for their auction properties. How do you have to put money down when you're doing an auction? And so on an auction, there is a deposit that you have to bring to the auction. And generally, when they post the auction, they're going to tell you what the deposit is. And then generally, especially if it's an auction either in front of the property or at the courthouse steps, the auctioneer is going to ask, who's bidding on this property? And let me see your deposits. and then you've got to show the deposit. That was posted in the generally in online or a legal newspaper, and so you do have to bring that deposit. And only the people who have the deposit can bid. Let's see, as Ashland Auctions, ASHLAND auction. It's either auction or auctions with an
Yes.
S. Yeah. Is it with an S, Dana? I can't remember.
Ashland, I'm not sure. But if you punch it in and if you Google it, it's gonna come up the proper way.
Right.
They're pretty well known, I think. Pretty popular.
I did get a
It's
couple.
without the S.
Without the S. Okay. Here I've got two questions. How do you find good contractors? And so I'll let these guys answer that. But primarily, you want to get referrals. You want to drive neighborhoods, especially the neighborhoods where the properties that you want to purchase, and look for contractors that are renovating properties in that neighborhood. Ask them questions, get referrals, those kinds of things. Josue, how did you find your contractor?
So I had a networking. I had a guy that I talked to a long time ago, and he told me he was flipping properties in Baltimore. I kept his contact. I called him 2 years later, and he referred me to 3 contractors. And I called those 3 contractors, and then the other one was one of my neighbors is a contractor. So just, so honestly, just talking to people. And then I found another contractor through a Facebook group. So referral, talking to people, and a Facebook group, social media. That's how I found my contractors. And I got all of them to bid on my property. And then I ended up choosing one of them.
Okay. I mean, honestly, that's basically the way. That's how we find our contractors.
Yeah.
We've got to get a good contractor. Contractors, that's probably one of the biggest challenges. We always tease Dana, but
True though, it's true.
because he's an HVAC contractor.
Honestly, I feel like contractors is the one thing. It's like you said, the biggest challenge, because it's the one thing that investors want to hold on to tightly, because you don't want to let a good contractor get too busy and then he can't work on your jobs or etc. And so, to find a good contractor, it's okay that you fail through a few of them. It's okay that a few of them, didn't come through the way you thought they would, and that eventually over time you will come to find that one good contractor that you can hold on to.
Right. And so Crystal's asking a good question. How do you find pre-foreclosures? And so that's really what we're talking about. But pre-foreclosure specifically, there's lists that you guys can buy. So there's list sources that you can actually purchase of pre-foreclosures. You can find pre-foreclosures in a lot of the websites like Ashland Auctions. And so a lot, well, not Ashland Auction, but AlexCooper.com. And so they have a list of pre-foreclosures. All the legal newspapers in any jurisdiction will have pre-foreclosures, because by law, foreclosures have to be posted in a legal newspaper at least 3 weeks before the auction. And so what I used to do as a real estate agent was I would get the list and try to call the owner and try to sell the property as a listing. As a real estate investor, I would get the list and call the owner, try to stop the foreclosure, and then buy the property. So there's 2 ways to stop a foreclosure. The definite way of stopping a foreclosure is getting the owner to file bankruptcy. And then the other way is oftentimes, at least if it's about at least 2 weeks before the foreclosure, you have a contract, put a contract on the property. In most cases, the bank will stop the foreclosure because they want to sell the property. Banks aren't in the business of holding property. They're in the business of lending money. And so they don't want to foreclose. It costs the bank about $65,000 just to foreclose. And so they would rather not do that. So if you put a contract on it, then it's highly likely that they'll stop the foreclosure. And so, Crystal, those are the ways that we find them. We have lists. I'll tell you a story in a second about calling lists, and Keith can talk more to that as well. So you can buy lists of pre-foreclosures. You can find them in the newspaper. There's a number of ways. All the auction sites, or most of the auction sites, the properties that they're auctioning off are pre-foreclosures. Courthouse steps, they are pre-foreclosures really up until the time that they get foreclosed on. And so you can find them there. I think we've answered all the questions. Are there any rules you have to follow in dealing with pre-foreclosed sellers? There's really no rules involved. In the state of Maryland, you have to, if you're a real estate investor, when you contact someone, his house is getting ready to go to foreclosure, you have to be definite in what your intentions are. So you've got to let them know that you're an investor, you want to buy the house. You can't tell them that you're here to save them from foreclosing. It's called a PIFA law. You can't tell them that you're contacting them to save their house from going to foreclosure and then actually trying to buy the house and strip them of their equity. But that's not federal. That's just in the state of Maryland.
He left.
Must say that, but
He'll be back.
Andre, but you do find a lot of pre-foreclosures, Andre?
Yeah, so I found a lot of pre-foreclosures. What I don't have not one method. I use different avenues. I use bandit signs. I cold call. I use bandit signs. I cold call. I just talking to people every day. People that come in my barber shop that I own, they come in there and they I talk to them and people tell me about their problems. It's not one way that I find them. You know what I mean? Some people call me because I brand myself on social media. So it's different ways that I get pre-foreclosures. And also Greg's brother, Keith Bennett, he has pre-foreclosure lists that he'd give out. So he gave me a pre-foreclosure list. I just recently found a pre-foreclosure that's in Bowie, Maryland, from that list that Keith Bennett gave me. So, like I said, it's not one method that I use. I kind of generally use all of them, right? Because I just feel like something's going to work. So, and it has been working. So, that's how I find.
Josue, do you cold call?
Yeah, I cold call a lot.
That's one thing I haven't gotten into at this point yet. Calling. I do a lot of drive for dollars. That's my biggest method. And for me, so like Dre, you are in the barber shop, and that's an advantage because you have people coming to you.
Right.
While you're making money, people coming to you. I have a slight advantage because of my HVAC and plumbing business. I'm out in the neighborhoods all the time, so I'm constantly moving around.
Right.
And while I'm making money, I'm driving for dollars. So driving for dollars is my biggest method.
Right.
So that helps me a lot.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sometimes, even while I'm driving for dollars, when I see neighbors outside of a property that looks distressed, I'll get out my car and go talk to them. And you'd be surprised how much info those people will give you.
Right.
They'll say the property has been vacant for this long, and the owner, I heard of him last week, and he was doing this. And it's just, they give you so much information that when you finally do get in touch with the owner, you kind of have a some idea as to what's going on, the context. So, sometimes getting out, knocking on doors. I've knocked on doors, of the neighbors if I don't see that the owner, if it doesn't seem like the owner lives there. So,
right.
So, yeah.
And sometimes that's the best way, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
What? Face to face, you mean?
You know, get out there and get on foot and pound the pavement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The thing is when you get out here, you're talking to people and getting personable with people. Like you said, they give you information. You can find out who the owner is that way. You know what I mean? Somebody knows somebody. You know?
Right.
So that's a good way of getting in touch with someone. You know, driving for dollars is priceless. You know,
Yeah, for me it is. Yeah,
driving for dollars is priceless. I love driving for dollars. You get to see firsthand the property. You get to see firsthand the neighborhood. So therefore, you could put together when you run the comps and everything like that. You can put everything together into perspective. You know what I mean? So I love driving for dollars. Like I said, there's no real one way. I do recommend to stick to one, try to find your niche and stick to it. But you know, try different things out. If you want to drive for dollars, if you want to do bandit signs, you know, try what works for you, and you know, stick with it.
Yeah. Hey, thank you guys for carrying me. I don't know what happened. I just dropped. I don't even know what I was talking about. But anyway, all right. So number one, short sales, foreclosures, auction properties. As we go on throughout this year, there's going to be more and more of them. There's going to be a lot of people that were on forbearance agreements because of the pandemic that can't make those payments, and so we're starting to see more and more of those. So that needs to be part of what you guys should be doing or focused on. All three of these guys have experienced that. So that's number one. Number two, contacting motivated sellers directly. And so that's calling pre-foreclosure lists, calling absentee owner lists, those types of things. One of our platinum coaching students got a list from us, made some calls, got a hold of a motivated seller, and her house was getting ready to go to foreclosure probably within the next month. So she called me, I actually went to the appointment, talked to that owner. I made her an offer, and it was a subject to. And so I said, I did all the numbers, and I said to her, I can bring your mortgage current, and I can pay you for that. I'll bring the mortgage current, I'll renovate the property, and then I'll sell the property. We'll keep everything in your name. I'll pay you $10,000 when you sign our agreement, and I'll pay you another $10,000 when we go to settlement after renovating the property, putting it on the market and selling. She agreed to that. And so she signed a subject to contract. I stopped the house from going to foreclosure. She moved out. My crew renovated the property. We put the property back on the market, sold the property, we came to settlement and signed all the documents because the house was still in her name. And so, and I paid her $10,000 again. We walked away with about $60,000. But that was because we made those phone calls and from the foreclosure list. And like I said, absentee owner list. There's a bunch of different lists. There's lists that you can purchase from like PropStream or List Source, Listability, Real eFlow. There's lots of lists you can buy. A great list to purchase is you can actually purchase a list of homeowners who own their houses free and clear, or homeowners who have at least 50% equity. And so contacting owners directly, direct mail. And so I've always done direct mail in my career, always. I'll get the same list, and instead of calling, I'll send postcards to them. And so direct mail piece, especially those of you who want to generate leads, but maybe you're busy, you work a full-time job, you can do direct mail in the direct mail company like Yellow Letters. Was that what it's called? I think it's
there's Yellow Letters.
And another some more companies, other companies.
There's so many out there.
Yeah, and then that can be on autopilot. Those will go out for you once a week. Have you guys done any of those types of things? Calling owners, mailing mail pieces, any of those things, Andre?
I haven't did any mail pieces yet, but I do call like I cold call all the time. I try to spend at least 45 minutes to an hour a day, 5 days a week, cold calling. So I call these owners. I try to call absentee owners. I try to call all types of lists. But like I was telling them, I got a pre-foreclosure list for your brother, Keith Bennett, and those lists are like gold. You know what I mean? I found
that pre-foreclosure list. If you're making calls, there's no better list than a pre-foreclosure list.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's gold. Works every time.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. I called him personally. So he gave me a list. I remember he gave me a list like it was a Thursday. I woke up Sunday and bam, I went down like the list, about 3 or 4 people, and bam, I got me a short sale.
I remember that. Was that the one in Bowie?
Yep.
I remember that. You called me that Sunday, had me come out and look at it that Sunday.
Right. You know me.
Yeah, but so that's another way. And when you join our platinum coaching program, that's one of the first things that we teach you is how to talk on the phone. Keith does a class every Thursday night where he does role playing. I mean, I'm sure all of you guys have been in that class. But a lot of real estate investors, this is the importance of that class. Real estate investors talk themselves out of a deal more than into a deal. So you've got to know what to say and how to say it, how to negotiate. I'm teaching a negotiation class next Saturday for the platinum coaching students. You got to know what to say. And so we want to talk ourselves when we're talking to motivated sellers, how to talk to them. Dana and I did a deal in Landover where Dana found that deal. How did you find that deal in Landover, Dana?
That deal was found through branding. She had well, actually, it could have been either branding. I can't remember if it was branding or if it was I was putting mailers out. So I mail letters out. So I drive for dollars and then I send letters out. So I can't remember if it was branding or someone referred. I think someone referred her to me though. And that's how she got my information.
So Dana called her. He had me come take a look at the property. He came with me, and so I said to myself, "This is probably going to be a good opportunity for Dana to actually shadow me, see how I talk to the homeowners and how I negotiate." And so I negotiated with the homeowner, got her to sign the contract. As Dana and I are walking outside, leaving, I asked Dana, I said, well, Dana, did you learn anything? How did I do? And Dana said, man, I could have did a better job than you. I could have got them down a little further than you got. In essence, Dana said, I didn't learn anything.
I did. I learned quite a bit. Hey, Greg, even not to be too greedy. That was the lesson for that day.
Absolutely.
Not to be too greedy. Yep.
Let's get to the number that we're good at.
Yes. And
let's try to get them to sign that contract. Yes. When you start to become, and that's why I say a lot of investors talk themselves out of making money.
Correct.
Being too greedy, trying to beat them down, trying to get that number too low. Then they say to yourself, well, let me think about it, or let me talk to somebody. And that's just really a polite way of saying no. Let's get to our number. Let's get them to agree, and then let's let them sign the documents. Then if you want to go back after you have them in writing, you've got a ratified contract. And this is what I'm going to teach the platinum coaching students next Saturday. Then we can go back and do what I call the negotiation. After the negotiation, we can go back, 2, 3, 4 days before settlement and say, well, we're getting ready to close, but I had my contractor look at the property. It's going to be a little more than I thought. Can we come down to, maybe another 10 or 15,000? But let's get to our number first. Let's get them under contract. Then we can do some more negotiation if we have to. And then if they say no, it's fine because we already have our number. But it's all about negotiation. All right. So contacting owner. talking to them, expired listings, absentee owners, pre-foreclosures. Those of you that just came in, you can go to my Instagram page and click on the link in my bio and get the handout. But then also, Michael, go to the link in my bio and you'll see all the information for the Platinum Coaching program as well. And on my Instagram page, Greg Bennett Invest. Number 2, probate. We love probate deals. We love probate, you guys, because there's more equity in a probate deal than any other type of deal. The reason for that is of everybody who opens up an estate, 80% of them own real estate, own real property. And of that 80%, 70% of those people own the real estate free and clear, no mortgages. And so oftentimes you'll hear about a wholesale deal, that somebody might make $50,000, $100,000. I always tell the story about the time we made over $200,000 on a wholesale deal. It was probate. 100% of the time it's probate because there's lots of equity in the probate on those probate deals. And so best way to find probate deals is, number 1, going to the probate office. A little limited now because of COVID, but prior to COVID, we would go down to the probate office. I would go once a week. I have an assistant. I would go to DC probate. She would go to Prince George's County, and we would go and get the list, come back and contact the personal representatives or send them a postcard. Probate is the best. These guys have talked a lot about networking and branding, using social media, branding yourself. If you guys don't do anything else, you've got to brand yourself, because by branding yourself, when one has a probate deal, they're going to get a ton of phone calls, one from a number up from me. They're going to get a ton of letters, a ton of postcards. They're likely to go to someone that they either know or they're referred to. And that's why you've got to brand yourself to get those probate deals. And for me, the majority of the probate deals that I get, even though we work the probate deals, I get them from branding. I get them from referrals. And then that's what you guys have to do. Have any of you guys done any probate deals?
Not yet. Not me.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I would like to, but not yet.
I ran appointments of a probate list that I cold call, but I didn't close on the deal.
Okay. And so that's another way of getting probate deals is there's a lot of people who actually go down to the probate office, they formulate a list, and then they sell the list. And so go ahead, Dana.
No, real quick. I am working on a probate deal. Is in probate now. So I am working on one. I'm waiting for it to come out of probate.
And then
and he's a friend of mine, but he's a friend who knew what I was doing from branding and talking. Okay. And he's just not communicating like I need him to. But yeah, we're working on that.
And so that's the point I'm making. It's all about branding. And for everybody that's listening, you've got to brand yourself. You can't. I tell my real estate agents, you can't be a secret agent. You can't be secret as a real estate investor, because the name of the game is finding deals. And these guys will tell you find a deal, you've got options. But if nobody knows that that you're a real estate investor, that you're looking for deals, that you can pay cash and you can close, within 2 weeks. If nobody knows that, it's an uphill battle to be a successful real estate investor. Everybody needs to know that this is what you do, and you can't be afraid to let people know. We've got some of our students that have magnets on their cars, or they'll wear. Normally, I'm wearing something that says, I'm in real estate investor. I'm wearing something. My coat has it on it now. You can't be afraid, no matter who you are, no matter what your status is, no matter how many deals that you've done in the past. You got to let the whole world know that this is what you do. You cannot be afraid. Can you, Andre?
No, sir.
So, Andre, you
said money don't make no money. Close mouth don't get fed.
And so, so probate would be number 3. Number 4, and I think I heard you guys already talk about this, is driving for dollars, walking for dollars, walking neighborhoods, learning neighborhoods. You know, I always tell the story about one of my agent investors who drives neighborhoods. That's all he does. Is he does driving for dollars, and he has an app on his phone called
Deal Machine.
Deal Machine. and so one day he went driving for dollars. Now he already flips properties, wholesales properties. He's got some 4-unit buildings, but he knows his marketing strategy is driving for dollars. That's one of them. He pulled in front of a house. It looked to be vacant or abandoned. He pulled out his app, Deal Machine. He put in the address, homeowner's name and number came up, called them. They weren't home, but they said, yes, we want to sell the property. Met him there the next day, signed a contract. He actually wholesaled that deal, made $25,000. Right. That's driving for dollars. That's something that is right now 76 people on, something all of you guys can do as soon as we hang up. Look for a neighborhood that looks to be, that's close to where you live, that looks to be an older neighborhood where you can buy low and sell high. Drive the neighborhood. Write down the addresses of the properties that look to be vacant or abandoned, or get the Deal Machine app. You get a discount. If you get the Deal Machine app, you get a discount if you put the coupon code Bennett, my last name, Bennett in, you get a discount. You can use that, or you can just write down the address, and then let's contact the owners and see if they're interested in selling. Let them know, hey, I'm a real estate agent. I pay cash for properties. I'm calling to see if you'd be interested in looking at a cash offer for your property. That's your script. I'd like to make you a cash offer on your property. You know, I can close in 2 weeks as soon as the title work is over. The call to action is, I'd like to make an appointment to meet with you. When can I meet with you? That's what you leave with. You want to get an appointment. And then if you don't know, you know, what to say when you meet with them, or you don't know the numbers, you contact me or contact a coach or a mentor. I am happy to go to the appointment with you. I'm happy to run the numbers for you so you know what to offer them. But that's driving for dollars. We have, and Tasha will be on in a minute, but she walks neighborhoods. And that's how she started finding properties, walking neighborhoods. She walked and still does the Brooklyn neighborhood, Brooklyn, Brooklyn Northeast. I'm getting ready to say New York. Brooklyn Northeast, and door knocks, or writes down addresses of houses that look to be vacant or abandoned. And she's found like 2 or 3 that she's pulled the trigger on. And so you guys have to do that. And so again, I'm not telling you guys to do all these things. Pick one that you know that you can be consistent with, and start making money that way and be great at that. And so that's driving for dollars. Networking. We've already talked about networking, but how do you network? You've got to purposely network. So networking would be number 5. We've got to network. And so I have a meetup group that we've been meeting online. This is part of my meetup group here. Hopefully in another month or 2, we'll be back face to face, depending on, you know, the COVID and things like that. But find networking groups like RIAs and meetups, and meet people, network with people, talk to people. At one of my sessions about a year or 2 ago, one of my coaching students found their contract. Another one found another investor that was wholesaling a property that my coaching student turned into an assisted living facility. And so that's what networking is all about. You've got to get the word out. And you've got to get the word out to as many people as possible. Let everybody know that this is what you do. Social media is the king of, if you want to brand yourself, network, you got to utilize social media. And I say this to every group that I talk to, my insurance agents, my real estate agents, my investors. It's all about social media. Josue is on social media. Andre is on social media. Dana is on social media. These guys aren't afraid. And so you've got to be on social media. What has social media or networking done for you guys? Start with you, Andre.
Oh man, I always say thank God for the internet. Thank God for social media. What that has done for me, for one, is for somebody starting off in real estate on a budget. Social media is free, so you can put the word out there for free. All you got to do is get enough following and get enough, people to follow you. And be enough influence where you can just market to the people that you know. And in most cases, people will call you and they will want your services. You know what I mean? So social media has just been a blessing to me. I'm on it every day. I try to put it in their heads that I'm a real estate agent. I'm a real estate investor. I tell them I can help out with pre-foreclosure situations. I tell them I can sell their house fast and I can sell it real fast for top dollar. Most time I got an investor just on standby, ready to buy their house. I love social media.
And then Josue, networking, social media. How important is that for your business?
It's very important. It's super, super vital. I actually found one of my lenders through social media, through Facebook group. And I couldn't agree more with what Andre was saying. There's companies spend thousands upon millions of dollars, depending on how big the company is, to advertise and market themselves. But social media has taken that away, where you can do all of that for free. Make the content enticing, post often, get out there, don't be afraid. Even myself, I'm encouraging myself right now because I'm not as out there as I should be. But the reality is, it's free advertising. The one who makes the most noise is the one who's going to win in this business.
Absolutely.
If you make the most noise and you're out there, deals are going to come to you at some point. Deals will literally, you'll be overwhelmed with deals. And I say that because I've seen it. I've heard a lot of testimonies. A lot of my friends, they're using it the way they should. So yeah, whoever makes the most noise is going to win.
And so, Josue, tell us a little bit about your backstory, because you've recently quit your full-time job to be a full-time real estate investor. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
What was that transition like? Was that a tough decision?
Yeah, it was very tough. I was working for Power Home Remodeling Group. It's a great, phenomenal company. I did marketing for them for 2 years, and then I did sales for 2 years for them. And it was very hard. It's a great company has a lot of upward mobility. It's still scaling. They're about to hit $1 billion in revenue, and the camaraderie was great. I mean, I have no complaints. But what happened was, there's different things that I wanted to do, right? Like, I always had a entrepreneur desire. I always wanted to get into real estate. And I found that sometimes I was limited as to those things, having to ask the boss for, a weekend out with my wife, or having to, plan different things, and having like this monkey on my shoulder was uncomfortable. And when I thought about wealth and generational wealth and having time on my hands, having financial freedom, I figured that I have to make this jump, because I was juggling with both at the same time, and it was tough. Not saying that it's not possible, but I made enough money where I can say, okay, I'm good to go now, So yeah, it was hard, talking to my boss, talking to my family. Some people didn't want me to do it. And that made it very hard. Some of my closest mentors and counselors. So, but I'm excited. I'm glad I did it.
You're taking a leap of faith, and you're working on your first property right now. You bought it at the auction, and I know that because you're always looking every day. You're like looking for properties.
Yeah.
Hey, Greg, I just found this one in Fort Washington. What do you think about it?
Yeah, man. I have a lot of leads that I'm working. I'm driving for dollars. I'm cold calling. I'm networking. I'm going to these meetups. Like, I am all in this business. I love real estate. You know, I love everything about it. And so I want to meet more people who are doing the business and network and grow and scale and, you know, give back to the community. So it's a
Absolutely.
great industry.
Dana, networking, social media, what has that done for you?
Well, what comes to mind first of all is, let me hear somebody say free, 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 free. That for me is unbelievable, being in business to be able to advertise for free. Second of all, that is how people know what I do. I mean, amongst me running my mouth, but I can't only be with so many places at one time. But in social media, you have that advantage and you're out there. You just have to do it. And I'm finding that I'm going to start focusing on being more interesting. You know, you want to keep people's attention, you know, because when you go through social media, you can just scan, 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 and people see you. If you're not interested, they scan, they swipe right past you. So, so I think I'm gonna start working on capturing people's attention more. These gentlemen here have some really, all three of y'all have really nice. Haven't got to that point yet. Haven't got to you all's level of advertising yet, but you all have some good sites and some good stuff on social media. So I'm getting there. I'll be there.
And in terms of networking, we also want to let our family and friends know that this is what we do, so they can help us find deals. That's called bird dogging. And so we want to have a number of bird dogs out there finding us deals. And all they're doing is just calling, hey, I see this property that looks to be vacant or abandoned. They give you the address, you put it in Deal Machine, PropStream, contact the owner. And if that lead results into you actually purchasing the property, wholesaling the property, then you pay that bird dog. You pay them something, $500 for the lead. I've paid up to $1,000 for a good lead that resulted in me flipping the property and making 100 grand. Why wouldn't I?
Right.
Because the more you pay them, guess what happens? The more deals they're going to find for you. And you can't be everywhere. And so you let people know that I will pay you. If you find a deal that results in me closing a deal, and however I close it, I will reward you. The more bird dogs out there, you know, the more money you guys are going to make. Go ahead, Andre.
Can I put that out there? If anybody's listening right now, I will personally pay you to be a bird dog. You find me a property, we can close on the deal, we can break bread together. Let's eat.
That's right.
We have to be just a little careful with as a real estate agent. But I
know what you're saying.
We'll work that.
Listen,
work that piece out.
Here's the thing, right? I like what Grant Cardone says. He says contacts lead to contracts, right? So you got to make contact with people. Find a way to get in touch with people. Contacts.
Absolutely, and you can't be afraid. You know, you can't be afraid to walk down the street and shout out to the world that this is what you do. Right. You cannot be afraid to do that, because the more you do that, you know, the more deals you're going to have or have access to. The more deals you have access to, the more deals you're going to get. And so we've got to do that. So we've got to figure out a way, whether it's short sales, foreclosure, auction properties, going to the auctions. Is that something that you can do consistently? Or is it cold calling, calling lists, doing direct mail? Is that something that you know that you can do consistently? Probate, working the probate leads, driving for dollars. Is that something that you know you can do consistently? Which that's something that everybody should be doing. I mean, you guys are going, you know, so Dana didn't talk about this, but Dana, he does HVAC and plumbing. When he's on his way to his appointments, he's looking, his eyes are wide open, and he'll write down an address as he's going and try to do some skip tracing to find out who that owner is. Look, you guys have done a wonderful job. There's a couple tidbits that at the end of this handout, and again, you guys, the handout is in my on my Instagram page. Number one, top tools to leverage your time in business. market and brand on social media. And so we've talked about that. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. Don't be afraid to do reels. Don't be afraid to go on TikTok as well. Don't be afraid to do video. Talk about what you're doing. Be on site. Andre is famous. Go to Andre's page. He's famous for being on site doing videos. He's probably videotaping this right now as we speak.
I know I should be, Greg. You know, I should be.
Or taking a picture.
Opportunity.
As a matter of fact, Andre, I'm really disappointed at you right now. I am so upset at you right now. I don't know what to do. Because the last time we went live, you was videotaping while we were live.
Hey, I'm gonna get one live now before we leave. Trust me that. One live, man.
All right. Using the Driving for Dollars app, Deal Machine, a D4D app. And so in this handout, there's a number of different apps here. Never miss a motivated seller call. Use a call or answering service. So I don't want you guys are going to do a lot of marketing. I use this company called Pat Live, PATLive.com. And so what Pat Live does is they answer all of my calls. So all of my phone numbers for all of my marketing that I do as it relates to real estate investing, I have my phone number. It's a Google Voice number, and it goes to Pat Live. And Pat Live is a 24/7 live answering service that answers all my calls. They have a script of questions to ask, and then I get an email, and so that I can call them back in real time if I'm available. And so while you guys are going here and fro on your advertising, you might want to put a Google Voice number, which is free, and then send that number to Pat Live so they can answer your calls in real time. Because oftentimes, you guys, we're in a society where everybody wants everything fast. Oftentimes, when people call, we need to call them back quickly, because if not, they're going to call another investor. Yeah, you guys are busy doing some other things. Have a live answering service answer. They'll send you an email, and you can call them back as quickly as you can. Hire virtual assistants. Have any of you guys had a virtual assistant, a VA, making calls for you or anything like that?
Not yet.
Not yet, but I probably will invest in one soon.
Okay.
Not yet.
And so talk to Keith about that. We've had virtual assistants on and off, I don't know, probably for the last 6-7 years. And so a lot of our investors, a lot of our platinum coaching students, they use virtual assistants. The virtual assistants, we primarily get them we use Upwork.com, but there's other sites that you can go to. We pay anywhere between $4 and $10 an hour. Most of them are out of the Philippines. Keith helps train you guys on how to use your virtual assistants with the list. We use an auto dialer. We use Mojo Dialer or mojosales.com to do the dialing for us, so we can get through more calls. So you want to automate your dialing. And so we use Mojo Dialer. And then the last thing is you want to send out postcards or letters, direct mail. Postcard Mania, Vistaprint, all of those sites are good. All of those sites are really, really good. In closing, you guys, what advice would you give investors that really want to either get into the game or, take their business to the next level? What advice would you give?
Well, if I could start, when I started out, I had kind of gotten the impression that it's over. All the property's been flipped. It's too late. As Greg mentioned, as the type of driving for dollars I'm able to do, which is a lot because I'm doing it in the course of my day of making money, my regular income, there are a lot of properties that are still available. A whole lot of properties are still out there. So my advice would be to go ahead and get started. But when it doesn't click right away, don't fizzle out. Keep going. You got to keep going it took a while for anything to happen for me, but when it started happening, it started happening. So you can't give up because a lot of investors will fall to the wayside, but you got to be the one that stands strong. So that's my advice.
And just to add to what Dana just said, being a successful entrepreneur, being a successful real estate investor, it's all about mindset. And you've got to have the right mindset. I often get the question, well, there's a lot of investors out here. There's not enough for me. There's more than enough for you. Because yes, there is a lot of investors, but number one, there's a lot of deals, but only 20% of the investors are doing anything. And so your challenge is being part of that 20%. There's lots of people out here that say they're investors. They may do one deal and they're out the game. Like you've got to get in, network, get coaching, mentorship, and then just go for it like these guys. And so it's all about mindset. Josue,
Yeah. So
you give someone.
I'd say I couldn't agree more with you, Greg and Dana. You know, mindset and getting out there. Mindset is huge because, you know, you guys are seeing us right now and saying, oh, wow, they're successful. They're doing all these great things. But all of us have gone through failures. All of us have gone through downfalls. All of us have, you know, gone through some type of trial to get where we are. So you have to have your mindset. You have to be positive about what you're doing. You have to be clear and certain about why you're doing this business. You got to have a big why. You know, your family's on the line. The community's on the line. You have bills to pay. You know, there's so many different reasons as to why you could be doing this business. But I would say mindset is definitely first and foremost. Work on your mindset. Read books. Listen to interviews. Listen to podcasts. Get on YouTube. Listen to winners, people who are winning in this business. Two, I would say educate yourself. Learn your market. Educate yourself on how this business works. And again, same thing. Read books. Get on social media. Talk to people. Go to these networking events. This is how you educate yourself in this business when it comes to this industry. And then three, I would say take action. You can't just learn. Knowledge is power, but knowledge is power. Knowledge with power without action is just pure knowledge. It's just sitting in your head. So you have to take action. You have to take massive action and fail forward, right? So I would say one, mindset, definitely, you know, have a strong mindset for sure. Two, educate yourself. And three, implement the things that you have learned. Implement everything that you have educated yourself on. You have to actually start implementing it and taking action on it. So those would be my advice.
Good, great advice. Great advice. Andre, what advice?
Oh, well, I'm sorry. One more. I would also say that if you want to condense your success in this business or condense your learning curve, get a mentor. I would highly recommend to get a mentor because if you don't, you're gonna fail more, and it's gonna take you longer before you start winning. So getting a mentor will condense that learning curve. So that would be number 4 for me.
That's correct.
Okay. All right, Andre.
Okay. I would say, like everybody else said, I would say everything lies within mindset. Believing in yourself and believing that you can do this. Believing that you can get up every day and make it happen. Sometimes, be honest with you, you get up every day and you like, what the hell am I doing? Am I doing the right thing? You got people on your side. You might even have your parents or family members saying, what are you doing? Like, you know what I mean? But you got to just it's in your mindset. You got to see it before you get it. You got to see it. You got to be, and that should be your motivation. Seeing what the other side will look like before it even happens. So me, in my mind, I'm already a millionaire. I'm already rich. Nobody can tell me that. You know what I mean? So so that makes me just go ahead and step within my purpose. And so, like I said, it's mindset. I'm a lion. I'm a gorilla. Like, you know what I mean? Nothing can stop me. And then so I come in competition with myself. So now I'm competing with myself. Not forget everybody else. Excuse me. I love everybody, but who cares what everybody thinks about me?
Right.
I'm in competition with myself. I done been to war. I done been to Afghanistan. I came back unscathed. I still got my sound mind. Some people might think I'm crazy because I go as hard as I do. But the thing is that, you know, you got to believe in yourself. That's where it lies in first. You can't look for validation within another person. They put on their pants just like you put on your pants. So forget them. Go out there, go hard, or go home.
Let's go. I'm ready to go right now.
Let's go.
Hey, look, you guys, we got a special guest. We've gotten a lot of questions about financing. So I thought I'd bring the mortgage investment guru in to talk to us about financing investment properties, financing auction properties, those types of things. So let's welcome Tarsha to the conversation.
Hi guys, it's been really great, guys, and I know each of you, and I admire your success and your drive, and so it's been wonderful to hear how you're implementing all of the real estate investing skills and guidance that we've received from Greg, and so keep going, keep pushing. It's amazing to see all of you up there doing your thing.
And so, Tarsha, as it relates to investment properties and getting them financed, even like auction properties, because I know you've done a number of auction properties. Any advice on that?
Sure. So just overall, there are two ways to finance your properties. And what I'm focused on is how do you qualify for the financing? You can use your personal income as a qualification, or you can use the property. So the financials of the property. It is very common for investors to seek financing based on the financial health of the property rather than their own personal income. There is going to be a premium for doing so, but as a real estate investor, speed is our game. We have to get in and out. We have to be able to acquire properties quickly. We don't really want to be bogged down in paperwork and in kind of the back and forth with a lender on whether we qualify from an income perspective or our own income. And so being able to qualify and being able to obtain financing based on the property itself is kind of a key way to go when you're trying to move fast, when you want to acquire, a number of properties and you want to leverage those properties to acquire more properties. And so I'm going to focus on the latter just for a few minutes. And for those of you that don't know, I'm with PRMG, and we have a number of investor programs that are it's called our Investor Solutions Program. And basically, it's just what I described. We look at the financial health of the property, and we offer you financing based on the property. So that means that we look at the appraised value of the property. We look at, if you're buying and holding the property, we look at the rental income that's going to be coming in. And then you and I would work through making sure that the rental income covers the mortgage and then also permits you to continue to cash flow. So when I speak of the appraised value of the property, one thing that is very, very important as you are acquiring properties is to make sure that you're buying the properties right. And what that means is really sticking to the formula that Greg teaches everyone, which is buying the property at 70% of the after repair value minus repair cost. If it's not an auction property, if it is an auction property, kind of moving down to 65% or even 60% of the after repair value minus repair costs. So that when you go to refinance, always know that you're going to be keeping 30% of equity in the property. And so your numbers are going to be 70% of the appraised value of the purchase price, whichever is lower. And you guys can always reach out to me and I can break that down further for you. But that's really the key to your success. And why do I say that? Because ultimately, our goal as real estate investors is not to just have one property. Our goal is to leverage the property to build a portfolio of properties without using our, and the way that you do that is you purchase one property. You could use hard money to purchase the property if you don't have cash. And then you take that money, you purchase a property, and then you refinance out of the property. The money that you're going to finance, you go and you buy another property. So that's the Burr method. And you just keep doing that until you reach your respective goals as to how much money you or how many properties you want. Let me also just speak a little bit about where the market is. The market right is focused on there's a swing because of the war. Rates actually just dropped a little bit, and so if you want to kind of jump in before rates go back up, this is a good time. Also, where are you getting the money from if you don't have cash? So what some people have been doing recently is refinancing out of their primary residence. So basically tapping into your home's equity in order to leverage it, in order to buy rental properties or to do other home improvement or other, retirement, investing into a retirement fund. And so you can use your home equity, refinance on that in order to leverage and continue to grow your wealth. One other thing I want to remind you guys of, and I thought of it as you guys were talking, and I'll give you a story. When I was in, I don't know, graduate school, was my uncle. He had many buildings in Ohio, and I think my father was like the executor of his estate, and he was trying to help his children acquire more properties. And the children, my cousins wanted to have more rental properties. They wanted to use the money from my uncle who had passed away from the estate to continue to build a portfolio. And I remember my they don't have any money. My cousins have no money, but they want rental properties. And so my father helped them go to the owner of a building and get owner financing on the building. And at the time, it seemed crazy to me because I didn't quite understand exactly what he was doing. But I remember thinking, kind of looking back and hearing you guys talk, owner financing is always a key way for you to build a portfolio of assets. If you don't have a certain amount of money, if your credit score is not where you want it to be, go to the owner and try to negotiate with them on getting owner financing, so that you can use that as a tool to acquire assets. And Greg teaches that in his course at length, and he can teach you how to. He was talking about negotiating earlier, how to talk to the homeowner, how to get them to agree to that type of arrangement. But it really is a great way to allow us as investors to acquire properties without having to go to a lender. And it really allows you to scale and to not use your own, which is always the goal, is don't use your own money, use somebody else's money. And so that was one thing I put out there and to remind everybody of, is to find alternative ways that may not necessarily require you going to a lender. And then also one other thing I wanted to remind you guys about is your credit score. Rates are dictated in large part by your credit. And so don't be afraid and don't shy away from working on your credit, because when your credit is good, it's golden. You're going to have the best rates. You're going to be able to leverage. You're going to be able to shop loans, and it really puts you in an advantageous position to really help you to get the best rates, which means making the most money off of your investment properties, because your rate's going to be lower, your monthly payment's going to be lower, and then you can cash flow. And so that's just one thing I want to remind everybody. Don't shy away from improving your credit. Reach out to someone like me. I can help you do little things that will significantly improve your credit over 2 to 3 weeks, over 30. And so don't ignore it. Don't shy away from it. Really jump in and make sure your credit is good. And just make sure you're thinking about different strategies for acquiring investment properties.
And so, Tarsha, can you put your information in the comment section your phone number, email address, and the rest of you guys as well. I want to invite everyone to call me, well, not call me, but make an appointment to meet with me to talk about our Platinum Coaching Program. I've got Keith Bennett, my brother, on, who runs the Platinum Coaching Program. We're more than happy to talk to you about what we have going on. We talked a lot about coaching, mentorship. We do have a coaching program. It's described in my on my Instagram page. You can click the link in my bio. Well, if you want to talk about it, just go to gbschedule.com. Keith, why don't you give them an idea of the coaching program?
Well, first off, let me say it's been really great to listen in and hear the success. I almost feel like, along with you, Greg, like a real proud big brother to see the investors do their thing, and they're on their way to just achieving greatness. But to answer your question, in our program, it's a very holistic view of investing. Everything, as Greg mentioned: flipping, wholesaling, buying and holding, creative financing, how to market yourself, and how to get out there and let the world know of your goals. And so we do our best to hold your hand. I was in the car with Greg last night, and I was thinking, what can we do better? Even if you look at it from cost to be in the program, is the value of what we provide, does it outweigh the cost? And I'd like to think that it does. So we have the wheel. Greg has created the wheel for success. No need to overanalyze. You just have to accept that wheel and put it on your buggy cart so that you can go. We have a lot more investors out here that are really doing it, and you can too. Nothing's stopping you. I like to say this too, that in reality, there's nothing stopping most of us from getting that next deal in the next 30 days. There's really nothing out there to stop us, but we have to have the drive that Andre and Josue and Dana speak about, and you can get it done as well. But a lot of good things happening with our coaching program. Different events. It's getting warm, so we're going to be out and about even more. If you guys have questions, you can reach out to Greg, of course, me. For those of you out there that may be sitting on the fence, I can offer you a free 45-minute strategy to kind of go over where is your mindset right now and what is the way forward. 5 minutes ago, it seemed like we were all saying Happy New Year, and now we're almost embarking on the midway point of March. So we have to keep going. Greg's always pushing us to keep going and just, what happened yesterday, that was yesterday. Now it's time to just keep moving forward.
All right, I appreciate that. So great. So if you guys are interested, go to gbschedule.com. My coaching students, we're meeting in person next Saturday. We're going to write contracts. We're going to learn how to negotiate. And then the following Saturday, we're actually going to have a shadow event in Baltimore, where we're going to look at a few properties in Baltimore, some of mine, some of our coaching students' properties. And then we'll end that day. I don't know, Keith, if we're going to go back to Little Italy and have lunch, or maybe we'll pick another area of Baltimore and just have a networking session over some pasta and some what is that dessert that
I think Tarsha has to make the decision where we go. Yeah.
They had some really good bread pudding there, though.
Yeah.
I think Wanda liked the bread pudding.
But that was a really good time, Greg, where it was more than just eating. It was the fellowship, the ability to share marketing tips, what's working, what's not. So I'm really looking forward to
I like the chicken parm. I mean, the networking was good, but I like the chicken parm. That chicken parm was good, and the lasagna. The lasagna was out of this world. All right, you guys. Take care. God bless. Hey, like he said, whatever happened last year was last year. This is a new year. Let's make it happen. Let's go. 2022. Hey, look. After listening to these guys, I'm ready to run through this wall right here. I'm ready to go stand on the corner and pass out some flyers. All right, you guys. Hopefully, I'll see you guys at breakfast. The rest of you guys have a great weekend. God bless. Take care, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
God bless.
All right.
Thanks, Greg.
All right, y'all take care. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
God bless.
All right.